The sky changed on a Tuesday, not gradually with the slow fade of sunset, but all at once. One moment the sky above New York was blue and clear, the next it shimmered with strange lights that no human had ever seen before. Captain William Carter stood on the observation deck of the exploration vessel Starlight and watched the enormous alien ships enter Earth's atmosphere. They were beautiful in a strange way, like giant crystals floating through the air, catching sunlight and breaking it into colors humans had no names for. "Are we recording this?" William asked, his voice steady despite the fear in his chest. "Every second, Captain," answered Lieutenant Daniel Martinez from his station. Daniel's hand rested on his sidearm, though everyone aboard the Starlight knew their weapons would mean nothing if these visitors turned hostile. Dr. Olivia Winters joined them at the window, her dark eyes wide with wonder and worry. As the ship's xenobiologist and first contact specialist, she had trained for this moment her entire career. But no training could fully prepare anyone for humanity's first encounter with intelligent alien life. "Their technology must be centuries beyond ours," Olivia whispered. "They bypassed every early warning system we had. 1 minute nothing, the next, here they are." The largest crystal ship, at least a mile long, hovered over the United Nations building. Smaller ships spread out across the planet. Reports flowed in from Beijing, London, Cairo, Sydney, all experiencing the same sudden appearance of the crystal vessels. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission," announced the communications officer. It's in English." William's eyebrows shot up. "Put it through." A voice filled the bridge, flat, emotionless, and perfectly clear. "People of Earth, we are the Vextal. We have observed your world for some time. We will now begin our assessment." The message repeated in different languages. No explanation of what assessment meant. No clues about their intentions. William looked at Olivia. "Your time to shine, Doctor. How do we respond?" Olivia took a deep breath. She had prepared possible first contact messages for years. Now she would have to use one. Send this. "Vextal visitors, we welcome you to Earth. We are peaceful and wish to learn about you. Please tell us the purpose of your visit and how we may assist in your assessment." The response came minutes later, as governments worldwide scrambled to form crisis teams. The Vextal voice remained flat. "You will provide representatives for direct communication. Your species operates with dangerous emotional instability. We must determine if you pose a risk." Within hours, Olivia found herself aboard a shuttle with William, Daniel, and representatives from major Earth governments, heading toward the largest Vextal ship. The shuttle docked without any help from the humans aboard, pulled in by some invisible force. When the doors opened, they saw their hosts for the first time. The Vextal stood 7 feet tall on average. Their bodies resembled humanoid crystals with complex geometric patterns shifting beneath transparent outer layers. They had no faces as humans understood them, no eyes, no mouth, yet they clearly perceived everything around them. "I am Zexvi," announced one of the crystalline beings, though none of them seemed to move in any way that suggested speech. "I will oversee your assessment." A team of scientists led by Olivia began careful communication efforts, while military personnel including Daniel stayed alert. William served as the bridge between the scientific and security teams. After 3 days of questioning and scanning, the humans learned little about the Vextal, but revealed much about themselves. The aliens showed particular interest in human emotional responses, asking questions that became increasingly uncomfortable. "Your species diverts resources to care for non-productive members." "Why?" Zexvi asked during one session. Olivia tried to explain concepts like compassion and family bonds, but the Vextal showed only cold curiosity. "Inefficient, illogical," was Zexvi's only response. On the 4th day, William received alarming news from Earth. The Vextal ships carried weapons, powerful enough to destroy the planet several times over, according to new scans, yet they had made no threatening moves. That evening, as the human representatives were escorted back to their temporary quarters aboard the alien vessel, they passed through an observation area. Through a massive view screen, they could see Earth, below them, beautiful and fragile. Your world contains many species that operate on pure biological impulse, HFY stated. You call them animals, yet you possess awareness and still allow emotions to drive your actions. We find this concerning. Emotions are part of what makes us human, Olivia said carefully. They're not flaws to be removed. We have encountered 12 species with similar characteristics, HFY responded. All proved unstable when allowed to expand beyond their home systems. The implied threat hung in the air. Daniel stepped forward, his face tight with controlled anger. Are you saying you destroyed them? We purified those systems, HFY answered without emotion. Preservation of galactic stability requires management of evolving threats. As tensions rose, alarms suddenly blared throughout the ship. A group of Vextal moved quickly through a corridor, carrying what appeared to be a damaged, smaller crystal being. What's happening? William asked. A juvenile unit experienced system damage during Earth observation, HFY explained. It is being returned for repair. Without thinking, Daniel moved toward the injured alien. Do you need help? Our doctor might be able to assist. The Vextal froze, their geometric patterns shifting rapidly. Your security officer offers assistance to an unknown entity that may threaten your species. Explain. William stepped up beside Daniel. That's what humans do. We help when we see someone hurt, even if they're strangers, even if they might be enemies. Illogical risk assessment, HFY stated. Later that night, as the human representatives discussed the day's events, Olivia voiced what they all feared. I think they're deciding whether to let us live or die. They see our emotions as dangerous, unpredictable. Then we need to show them that our humanity, our compassion, our emotions is our strength, not our weakness, William said firmly. The next morning, as they prepared for another meeting with the Vextal, they watched through a view screen as chaos unfolded in New York. A building had collapsed near the hovering alien ships and people were trapped. Emergency services rushed to help. The Vextal observed silently as human rescuers risked their lives to save strangers. A young female rescuer crawled into a dangerous space to reach a crying child. When both emerged safely, cheers erupted from the crowd. The female risked termination for an unknown juvenile, HFY noted. No biological relation was present to explain this behavior. No, William agreed. Just humanity. For the first time, the Vextal were silent without an immediate response. Their internal patterns shifted in new configurations. The assessment had only just begun, and humanity's future hung in the balance. 2 weeks passed since the Vextal arrived. Their crystal ships now hovered over major cities worldwide. People tried to continue their normal lives, but nothing felt normal anymore. Dr. Susan Miller worked longer hours than ever before at the New York Mental Health Center. She helped people deal with the fear and stress caused by the alien presence. Today she sat with a young man who couldn't sleep since the ships appeared. I keep thinking about what they could do to us, he said, his hands shaking. They're just watching us, judging us for what? Many feel the same way, Susan said gently. It's normal to be afraid of the unknown. But remember, they haven't hurt anyone yet. Unknown to Susan, a Vextal observer named HFY monitored their conversation from a hidden corner of the room. The crystalline being had been assigned to study human emotional responses. The Vextal could bend light around themselves, becoming nearly invisible when they wished. Across town, Jason Howard loaded supplies into trucks. Once a soldier, he now worked in disaster relief. The government asked his team to help with a flood in a nearby state. Even with aliens possibly planning to destroy Earth, local disasters still happened. We leave in 20 minutes, Jason told his team. People need help, aliens or no aliens. As Jason's trucks pulled away from the warehouse, a shimmer in the air revealed another Vextal observer following them. Meanwhile, Catherine Lee worked in her lab at MIT. She developed shields that might protect against Vextal weapons, though everyone knew they were probably useless against such advanced technology. Still, Catherine worked day and night. Their energy signatures are like nothing we've ever seen, she told her assistant. But every technology has limits. We just need to find theirs. A Vextel observer watched her as well, recording her determination. On the Vextel mothership, William Carter and Olivia Winters met with the alien leaders. After 2 weeks of talks, they still understood very little about the Vextel. "Your observers have been studying us," William said. "What have they learned?" "Your species shows concerning patterns," replied the lead Vextel. Its crystalline body shifted colors as it spoke. "You allow emotions to override logical choices. This leads to unpredictable behavior. Our emotions also lead to our greatest achievements," Olivia argued. "Our art, our music, our desire to explore space, all come from emotional drives." "Emotions caused your world wars," the Vextel countered. "They cause your crimes, your hate, your violence." "Yes," William admitted. "But they also cause our love, our compassion, our sacrifice for others." The Vextel did not respond to this. After a moment, it simply said, "The assessment continues." That afternoon, Jason's team arrived at the flooded town in New Jersey. Water covered streets and houses. People stood on rooftops waiting for rescue. "Get the boats in the water," Jason ordered. "Priority is children and elderly." As they worked, storm clouds gathered again. Weather reports warned of another downpour coming soon. Jason heard this news but kept working. More rain meant more danger, but people still needed saving. The invisible Vextel observer watched as Jason and his team pulled family after family from flooded homes. When rain began falling again, they didn't stop. "You should seek shelter," an elderly man told Jason after being rescued. "Save yourselves." "Still got jobs to do," Jason replied, helping another boat launch. The Vextel observer's crystalline body flickered slightly, a sign of confusion. Back in New York, Susan visited a school where children drew pictures of the alien ships. Many drawings showed scary monsters coming out of the ships. Susan talked with the children about their fears. "It's okay to be scared," she told them. "Even grown-ups are scared sometimes. But being brave means doing what's right even when you're afraid." A little boy raised his hand. "My dad says we should fight the aliens." "Fighting is sometimes necessary," Susan said carefully. "But first, we always try to understand each other. These visitors are different from us, but different doesn't mean bad." The hidden Vextel observer recorded this exchange. In her lab, Catherine hit another dead end with her shield design. Frustrated, she knocked papers off her desk. Then she took a deep breath, picked everything up, and started again with a new approach. "Why continue when success probability is minimal?" asked a voice. Catherine jumped. A Vextel stood in her lab, no longer hidden. After her initial shock, Catherine answered, "Because giving up guarantees failure. Even a small chance is worth fighting for when everything is at stake." The Vextel's internal patterns shifted. "Your emotional attachment to your world overrides logical assessment of the situation." "Yes," Catherine said simply. "Love does that." On the other side of the world, tsunami warnings blared along the Japanese coast. People evacuated inland as enormous waves approached. Vextel ships hovered, observing. When the waves hit, they destroyed coastal buildings. Emergency teams rushed in as waters receded. Among them was a visiting American disaster expert working with local teams. "There are still people trapped in that building," a Japanese rescue worker said, pointing to a dangerously leaning structure. "Too dangerous to enter," his supervisor decided. "Building could collapse any moment." "I'll go," said the American, Jason Howard, who had been flown in after finishing the flood work. "I'm lighter than most of your team." "You could die," the supervisor warned. "Someone in there could die if I don't try," Jason answered. The supervisor reluctantly agreed. Jason entered the damaged building while Vextel observers watched. Inside, he found 3 people trapped. One by one, he helped them to safety. As he led the last person out, the building groaned. "Run!" Jason pushed the survivor forward and jumped just as the structure collapsed. Debris hit his leg, breaking it. Later in the hospital, Jason lay in bed when the air shimmered. A Vextel appeared beside him. "You risked termination for strangers." the alien stated. Why? Jason considered the question. Because their lives matter. All humans would do this? Not all, but many would. It's what makes us human. The Vextal was silent for a long moment. This behavior contradicts survival instinct. Sometimes there are more important things than just surviving, Jason said. As the Vextal left, its crystalline body showed new patterns never seen before. Something was changing in the aliens' understanding. On the mothership, Zexvi reported to the leaders about the observations of Susan, Catherine, and Jason. The humans show concerning emotional behaviors, Zexvi stated, but these same behaviors produce unexpected positive outcomes. Further study is required. The Vextal leaders agreed. The assessment would continue, but now with greater interest, in understanding these strange emotional beings who valued others above themselves. 1 month after the Vextal arrival, Professor Alan Wright sat in his university office surrounded by stacks of paper. The Vextal had shared some information about their history, and Alan worked day and night to understand these mysterious beings. There's something here, he muttered to himself, connecting notes with red string on his bulletin board. Something they're not telling us. Alan was right. The Vextal had shared only carefully selected facts about their civilization. But even these small pieces revealed patterns that troubled the professor. In another part of the city, Nicole Garcia prepared for another meeting with the aliens. As a diplomatic liaison, she met with Vexital representatives daily, trying to build understanding between the two species. Remember to speak plainly, her supervisor reminded her. They don't understand. Our metaphors are emotional language. I know, Nicole replied. But I think they're learning. On the Vextal mothership, a scientist named Kixmore studied human communication patterns. Unlike other Vextal, Kixmore showed unusual interest in human culture. While others saw only dangerous emotional creatures, Kixmore saw fascinating complexity. When Nicole arrived for her meeting, she was surprised to find Kixmore waiting instead of her usual contact. You are Nicole Garcia, Kixmore stated. I have questions about human connections. Nicole sat down, curious about this different approach. What would you like to know? You have a small image on your communication device, Kixmore said, pointing to Nicole's phone. Explain its purpose. Nicole picked up her phone. The lock screen showed a photo of her family at her brother's wedding. This is my family, the people I love most. Love, Kixmore repeated. This concept requires clarification. For the next hour, Nicole tried to explain love, family bonds, and friendship. Kixmore asked questions no Vextal had asked before. Why maintain connections with those who share genetic material once maturity is reached? Kixmore asked. It appears inefficient. Efficiency isn't everything, Nicole said gently. Family gives us support, happiness, a sense of belonging. These things matter to humans. As they talked, Nicole noticed something strange. Tiny lines appeared on Kixmore's crystalline surface, like hairline cracks spreading slowly. Meanwhile, Ryan Sullivan worked in intelligence analysis, studying everything known about the Vextal. He discovered patterns in the limited information available. Look at this, he told his team, pointing to star maps the aliens had shared. These 12 systems they mentioned before, all had inhabited planets with spacefaring civilizations according to their own historical records. Now, nothing living there. They destroyed them all? A team member asked. They purified them, Ryan corrected grimly. Their word, not mine. And look at the timeline. Each destruction happened after the species developed interstellar travel, just like we're starting to do now. The team grew quiet as they realized the pattern. Earth might be next on the Vextal list. Ryan prepared a report for government leaders. The situation was more dangerous than anyone had realized. Back on the FOR mothership, Professor Alan Wright got a rare opportunity to study Vextal historical records under strict supervision. He noticed something strange in the oldest documents. These early images of your people show different physical structures, he said to his Vextal guide. Almost like your bodies changed over time. We evolved for greater efficiency, the guide stated flatly. But Alan saw something more. These ancient Vextal have what look like facial features. They seem more expressive. The guide quickly changed the subject, but Alan had seen enough. He began to form a theory. That evening, Nicole met with William Carter, Olivia Winters, and others involved in the first contact team. Something strange happened today, Nicole told them. The Vextal I met with, Kixmore, asked about family and emotions, and when I showed my family photo, I swear its body changed. Tiny cracks appeared. Olivia leaned forward with interest. That matches something I've observed. Some Vextal who spend more time around humans show physical changes. And I found something in their historical records, Alan added. I think the Vextal weren't always like this. I believe they once had emotions but somehow removed them from their species. The group sat in silence considering this idea. If that's true, William said slowly, then our emotions aren't just strange to them. They're threatening. They remind the Vextal of what they gave up. The next day, Kixmore did something no Vextal had done before. It requested Earth literature. Nicole provided some books, wondering what would happen. A week later, Kixmore asked to meet privately with Nicole. I have experienced something concerning, the alien said, its voice lower than usual. While reading your stories, my physical structure experienced changes. Kixmore showed Nicole the small cracks spreading across its surface. This is not normal. What were you feeling when it happened? Nicole asked. Kixmore paused. Feeling. Yes. That is the concerning part. I believe I am experiencing emotions. Nicole tried to hide her surprise. Which emotions? When the child in the story lost its parent, my systems experienced unusual disruption. Efficiency decreased. I believe humans call this sadness. This was a breakthrough. Nicole reported the conversation to the first contact team immediately. On the other side of the Vextal ship, a troubling meeting took place. The Vextal leaders gathered to discuss a problem. Some units show contamination after human contact, the head leader stated. Emotional response patterns are emerging. This cannot continue. What action should be taken? Another asked. Affected units must be purified, and a decision on the human problem must be accelerated. They are more dangerous than anticipated. Kixmore was called to this meeting but said nothing about the books or conversations with Nicole. As the leaders discussed purifying affected Vextal, Kixmore felt something new: fear. Later that night, Kixmore secretly contacted Nicole. Humans are in danger. My leaders see emotional response as contamination. They fear what you awaken in us. What are they planning? Nicole asked, alarmed. I cannot say more without risking detection, but there are others like me now. Some Vextal remember what we once were before the great purification of our own species. Your stories, your art, they awaken what was locked away. The communication ended abruptly. Nicole rushed to inform William and the others. We need to understand what happened to them, Alan said. If the Vextal removed their own emotions, why? And how does that relate to their destruction of other emotional species? Whatever the reason, Olivia added, some Vextal are changing through contact with us. Our humanity is affecting them. And that terrifies their leaders. William concluded, not our weapons or technology, but our emotions. Our humanity is the real threat to them. The group realized they faced both great danger and unexpected hope. The Vextal leaders might destroy Earth to prevent the spread of emotions. But some Vextal were already changing, remembering what they once were. The race was on to save both humanity and the Vextal from the emotionless path their leaders had chosen long ago. Dark clouds gathered over Washington, D.C. as Admiral Samuel Wilson entered the emergency meeting. Leaders from around the world joined by video call. The mood was grim. Ryan Sullivan had shared his findings about the 12 destroyed civilizations, and now everyone knew the truth. The Vextal had eliminated every emotional species they encountered. We need to prepare for the worst, Admiral Wilson said. His voice was calm, but his eyes showed worry. Our best weapons won't stop their ships if they decide to attack. President Elizabeth Johnson nodded. She had aged 10 years in the past month. What options do we have? Very few, Admiral Wilson admitted. We've developed some defensive measures, but nothing that would truly protect us from their technology. Across the room, William Carter and his team shared what they had learned from Kixmore. Some Vextal are experiencing emotional responses, William explained. Our humanity is affecting them. It's like they're remembering something their species lost long ago. So we're causing a split among them? President Johnson asked. It seems that way, Nicole answered. But their leaders see emotions as dangerous. Contamination. They're planning to purify affected Vextal. Professor Alan Wright stepped forward. Based on their historical records, I believe the Vextal once had emotions like us. They genetically modified themselves to remove them, probably after devastating conflicts. So they see us as a reminder of their past, Olivia added. And that terrifies them. The meeting continued as they discussed possible plans. Should they fight, try to negotiate, or find another solution? Meanwhile, in Chicago, ordinary people faced the growing tension. Benjamin Craig walked home from work, passing under the shadow of a Vextal ship. Like everyone, he tried to continue normal life despite the alien presence. As Benjamin turned down a side street, he heard angry shouts. A crowd had gathered around something. Pushing closer, he saw what had drawn their attention. A Vextal. The crystalline being was trapped against a wall as people yelled and threw objects at it. The Vextal made no move to defend itself. It's spying on us, someone shouted. They're going to kill us all, yelled another. Benjamin watched in horror as a man picked up a metal bar. Without thinking, he pushed through the crowd and placed himself between the Vextal and the angry humans. Stop, he shouted. This isn't right. Get out of the way, growled the man with the bar. They're the enemy. Benjamin stood his ground. If we attack them for being different, we prove they're right about us being dangerous. Is that what you want? The crowd hesitated. Benjamin continued. Look at us. We're scared, I get it. But this isn't who we are. We're better than this. Slowly, people began to back away. Someone in the crowd recorded Benjamin's words. Within hours, the video spread worldwide. On the Vextal mothership, leaders watched the incident with interest. The human protected our observer despite risk to itself, one noted. Unexpected behavior. It changes nothing, said the Supreme Commander Zorvak. Our decision is made. Humans are too emotionally volatile to be allowed interstellar capability. They must be contained or eliminated. What is our timeline? Asked another leader. We will deliver our ultimatum tomorrow, Zorvak stated. Humans will have 30 days to accept genetic modification to remove emotional capacity. If they refuse, they will be purified. In another part of the ship, Kixmore met secretly with other Vextal who had begun experiencing emotions. The leaders plan to purify us, Kixmore told the small group. They fear what we are becoming. What are we becoming? Asked one. Its crystal surface showing the small cracks that marked emotional awakening. We are remembering, Kixmore said. Before the Great Purification, our species felt emotions as humans do. Our ancestors removed this capacity after terrible wars. But I believe this was a mistake. The human stories, another said. They awaken something inside us. Kixmore nodded. Yes. And the human named Nicole showed me something called music. It created responses I cannot explain with logic. The group fell silent as a security patrol passed nearby. Discovery would mean immediate purification. The next morning, Vextal ships worldwide broadcast their message to Earth. Zorvak's emotionless voice reached every corner of the planet. People of Earth, our assessment is complete. Your species presents unacceptable risk due to emotional instability. You have 30 days to accept our assistance in removing this flaw from your genetic structure. If you refuse, your world will be purified for galactic safety. Panic spread across Earth. In the White House, President Johnson called an emergency meeting. They want to strip away our emotions? She asked in disbelief. Make us like them? It's consistent with what we've learned about them, Alan explained. They see emotions as dangerous evolutionary flaws that lead to violence and instability. We can't accept that, Admiral Wilson said firmly. Without our emotions, we wouldn't be human anymore. Then we prepare to fight, the president decided. Even if we can't win. Around the world, people reacted to the ultimatum. Some panicked, others prayed. Many spent time with loved ones, knowing these might be their final days together. In his apartment, Benjamin watched the news with growing dread. His phone hadn't stopped buzzing since his video went viral. People called him brave, but he didn't feel brave. He had just done what seemed right. A knock at his door startled him. When he opened it, he found no one there. But a shimmer in the air revealed a Vextal. You are Benjamin Craig, the alien said, becoming visible. I am the observer you protected. Benjamin stepped back in surprise. Why are you here? I wish to understand, the Vextal said. You risked harm to protect an unknown entity. Your behavior contradicts standard survival protocols. Benjamin thought, carefully before answering. Sometimes we have to stand up for what's right even when it's risky. Protecting others, even strangers, is part of being human. The Vextal was silent for a moment. Then it said something unexpected. I have experienced disruption since your action. I believe I feel gratitude. Benjamin stared in amazement as tiny cracks appeared on the alien's surface. Across the city, Nicole met with Kixmore in secret. The Vextal's appearance had changed dramatically. Cracks covered its entire crystalline body. More of us remember each day, Kixmore said. But the leaders have ordered our purification, and they will not change their minds about humans. There must be something we can do, Nicole insisted. Perhaps, Kixmore said, but it would require reaching many Vextal quickly, showing them what they have lost, what emotions truly mean. How? Nicole asked. Your world's greatest expressions of emotion, Kixmore suggested. Art, music, acts of courage and sacrifice. If enough Vextal remember who we once were, we might prevent the purification of Earth. Hope flickered in Nicole's heart. It was a desperate plan, but perhaps humanity's greatest strength, its emotions, could save them after all. 29 days passed since the Vextal ultimatum. One day remained before Earth faced purification. Around the world, people prepared for the worst. Some prayed. Others spent time with loved ones. Many joined protests, refusing to surrender. Their humanity even if it meant destruction. In New York, a small girl named Maya Peterson sat in her classroom. While adults worried about the end of the world, Maya's teacher asked the children to draw pictures of peace. Maya drew a simple picture. Human and Vextal figures holding hands under a bright sun. Her teacher looked at it with tears in her eyes. That's beautiful, Maya, she said. May I share this? Maya nodded. Her teacher took a photo and posted it online. Within hours, the image spread across the internet. People shared it with messages of hope. Soon it appeared on billboards and buildings around the world. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., William Carter and his team worked with world leaders on a desperate plan. They called it Operation Empathy. We need to broadcast our humanity to the Vextal all at once, William explained. Not just to their leaders, but to every Vextal on their ships. How? Admiral Wilson asked. They control all communications with their fleet. Not all, Catherine Lee said. I've modified our satellite network to create a powerful signal that can penetrate their ships. But we need the right content to send. Nicole stepped forward. Kixmore and other emotional Vextal are helping us. They believe if enough of their kind remember emotions, they might stop the attack. For days, they gathered Earth's most powerful, emotional expressions. Music that brought tears, art that inspired awe, stories of sacrifice, courage, and love. They created a program that would broadcast these directly into the Vextal ships. It's a long shot, Admiral Wilson admitted. But it's our best hope. On the Vextal mothership, trouble brewed. More Vextal showed signs of emotional contamination. Supreme Commander Zorvak ordered all affected units to be purified. The human infection spreads, Zorvak stated. We must accelerate our timeline. But the ultimatum allows one more day. Another leader objected. Irrelevant, Zorvak replied. Prepare weapon systems. Earth will be purified today. Kixmore learned of this plan and rushed to warn Nicole. They're attacking early, today. Nicole alerted the team. We need to launch Operation Empathy now. Around the world, people received emergency alerts. The final hour had arrived sooner than expected. Families huddled together. In cities, strangers reached out to each other, not wanting to face the end alone. In Chicago, Benjamin Craig joined thousands, gathering in a park beneath a Vextal ship. Instead of running or hiding, they stood together in peaceful defiance. If this is our last day, someone said, let's show them who we really are. Benjamin looked up at the massive crystal ship. Let's show them our humanity. People joined hands in a vast circle. Similar gatherings formed in cities worldwide. Millions stood together, refusing to give in to fear or hate in their final moments. On the Vextal mothership, Zorvak gave the order. Begin purification sequence. Deadly weapons powered up across the Vextal fleet. Earth's defenses prepared for a fight they couldn't win. At that moment, Catherine activated their broadcast. Sending now. Let's hope they can feel something after all. The signal blasted toward every Vextal ship. Inside, their screens filled with Earth's most powerful emotional expressions. Music played through their ships. Images appeared. Parents sacrificing for children. Strangers helping each other in disasters. Lovers reuniting after war. And everywhere, Maya's simple drawing of humans and Vextal holding hands. On the mothership, Kixmore and other emotional Vextal moved to spread the signal further. They connected it to all internal systems so no Vextal could avoid seeing it. As the signal played, something extraordinary happened. Cracks appeared on Vextal throughout the fleet. The emotional suppression that had controlled them for thousands of years began to break. In the command center, Zorvak watched in horror as fellow leaders developed cracks. Continue purification. Ignore the human transmission. But all around, Vextal froze as long-buried emotions stirred. Images of human kindness, love, and sacrifice triggered memories of their own emotional past. On Earth, the weapon systems targeting the planet suddenly powered down. The deadly light gathering at the base of each ship faded. In their park, Benjamin and thousands of others looked up in confusion. Were they saved? Or was this just a pause before the end? Inside the mothership, chaos erupted as more Vextal experienced emotional awakening. Zorvak tried to maintain control, but even the Supreme Commander's crystalline body showed spreading cracks. Stop this contamination, Zorvak ordered. But no one followed commands anymore. For the first time in their history, the Vextal felt the full range of emotions their ancestors had eliminated. They felt regret for the species they had destroyed. They felt shame for what they had become. They felt hope for what they might be again. Kixmore approached Zorvak. Look at what we gave up. Look at what we lost. For the first time, the Supreme Commander truly saw. Memories surfaced of a time when the Vextal laughed, cried, loved, and created beautiful things. Before fear of emotional pain led them to remove all feeling. Zorvak's crystal form cracked completely, revealing a softer form beneath. What have we done? The attack never came. Instead, a new message reached Earth from the Vextal fleet. People of Earth, we withdraw our ultimatum. We request dialogue. The next day, Vextal representatives met with Earth's leaders. Their appearance had changed dramatically. The hard crystal exterior had softened, revealing more expressive forms beneath. For thousands of years, we believed emotions made species dangerous, the new Vextal speaker explained. After terrible wars nearly destroyed us, our ancestors removed emotional capacity from our species. We thought this was evolution. We now understand it was mutilation. What happens now? President Johnson asked. We have much to relearn, the speaker replied, and much to atone for. We ask for your patience as we remember how to feel. In the months that followed, humans helped Vexatal rediscover their emotional nature. The aliens who once came to destroy now came to learn. Museums, concerts, and schools welcomed Vexatal visitors eager to experience art, music, and connection. 1 year after the crisis, a special ceremony took place at the United Nations. Maya Peterson, now 7 years old, presented her drawing to the Vexatal representatives. I knew you weren't really scary, she told them. You were just sad because you forgot how to be happy. The lead Vexatal, once known as Zorvak, knelt before the child. You are wise, Maya Peterson, we had forgotten. Thank you for helping us remember. As Maya reached out to touch the alien's now softer form, cameras captured the moment. The image spread across Earth and the Vexatal fleet, a perfect symbol of a new beginning. What had terrified the aliens most wasn't human weapons. It was human. Emotions, the very thing that ultimately saved both species and brought them together.